Welcome back to the arrays lecture. This is part 5. Take a look at this next example. We're going to take a look at trying to hike everything over by one space. What does that mean? Well, suppose you have an array of ints and it has a length of 6. And it could be any length, but let's just go with 6 for now. How about if we try and write a program that will shift the contents of the array one space to the left, or some people think of that as moving upward if you think of your array as being a list that's vertical, and then finally replace the last element in the array, in this case it would be array bracket bracket 5 if you're a length of 6 there, with a 0. So here's an example. Suppose you had an array filled up with these values. I'm going to highlight it for you. 7, 1, 9, 5, 2, and 3. Now, you're going to have to hike everything over by one space to the left, so the 7 is going to drop off and get deleted. But if you'll notice, you'll have the 1 move to this place where the 7 used to be, and the 9 will hike over where the 1 used to be, and so on. So you want to have everybody move over by one unit. And then finally, since the last guy in the list doesn't have anybody on his right to get shifted, we'll just replace him with a 0. So that's how it's going to work. So when you're all done, your array will now look like this. It'll have a 1, 9, 5, 2, 3, and a 0 in it. So here's a possible answer. Now I'm going to purposely put an error in this code fragment. See if you can figure out what it is I'm doing wrong. There's just going to be one error. So the for loop, I'm going to start writing here for int, that'll be our index we'll traverse the array with. I'll call it I. We'll start with I equal to 0. And then I'm going to have I less than or equal to the array.length. Let's say the array's name is array, so array.length. And then we'll have semicolon I plus plus, and then this will be a one-liner for loop. What we'll do to hike everybody over, we'll take array bracket bracket I and replace his contents with the guy that's right next to him, which will be simply array bracket bracket I plus 1. So we're hoping the for loop will go ahead and do all of that. So after we're all done, what we want is to replace the last element in the array, which would be array bracket bracket array.length minus 1 with a 0. Okay, so what am I doing wrong? Well, this for loop will do everything okay up until what? Well, we can't have this be our condition. Why not? Well, it would exceed the bounds of the array, for one thing. And we talked about in a previous lecture that you never want to have your index set equal to your array length, which it's doing here. I told you that I'd like you to replace it with a less than. But then, for this particular example, that's still going to be giving us an error. Why? Well, when we finally reach array length minus 1, which will be right where this 3 is, which in this case is array subscript 5, we'll be asking to replace the contents of array bracket bracket 5 with array bracket bracket I plus 1, but then I plus 1 will be a 6, and there is no such subscript array bracket bracket 6. So this condition is still going to be wrong. So what do we need to do to really correct it now? Well, I claim that this second statement, the condition, needs to say I less than array.length minus 1. That's the last subscript that we want to have replaced with the one to the right. And this will now work. And we are done with this example.